In the summer of 2019, my closest companions, Jake, Alex, and I experienced the stunning landscapes of Yosemite National Park. Jake had spent the season working as a parking agent at Glacier Point, granting him an insider's knowledge of the area. Little did we know that our escapade would lead us to an encounter with the supernatural, adding an unexpected twist to our Yosemite adventure. One particular evening, we decided to venture on a hike to a secluded spot, eager to witness the mesmerizing sunset. Jake, serving as our guide, navigated the trails with confidence. The route presented a formidable challenge, spanning 4 miles and boasting a 2,000-foot elevation gain. Our goal was to reach a serene pool at the pinnacle of the falls, promising both refreshment and a breathtaking view. As we approached the summit, a disheveled young man burst out from the bushes, desperately seeking assistance. His companion had suffered a harrowing fall of 50 feet, resulting in a shattered femur. Drawing on Jake's experience from his summer employment, we assured the distressed stranger that help was on the way. With no cell reception, I took charge and dialed 911. After reporting the incident and securing the promise of a search and rescue helicopter, we made the decision to continue our hike, trusting that professional aid was en route. Reaching the apex, we were greeted by a picturesque scene, a perfect sunset backdrop as we swam and enjoyed our meal. Our awe, however, transformed into astonishment as a rescue helicopter landed just below us, retrieving the injured individual we had encountered earlier. As a private pilot and Air Force aviator, I couldn't help but appreciate the precision of the mountainside landing. As darkness fell, we commenced our descent, using our phones as makeshift flashlights to illuminate the trail. The top part of the hike consisted of switchbacks, with a steep incline on one side and a precipitous decline on the other. About a mile into our descent, Jake, leading the way with a light, suddenly stopped in his tracks. Something, about 15 feet ahead and just off the path, caught his attention. Instinctively, he shone his light towards it, revealing a humanoid figure moving behind a tree. The creature, running on 2 feet, was slightly shorter than us, and its limbs appeared to be bare skin, devoid of any clothing. Its movement was unsettlingly inhuman, and the three of us stood frozen, watching it dart across the path and down the steep slope. Terrified, we continued shining our lights in the direction it had gone, but the mysterious being had vanished. We pressed on, the unease lingering as we navigated the remaining 3 miles of the descent, and then the additional 1.5 miles to the trailhead. Arriving safely at Jake's house, the relief was palpable. Whatever we had encountered seemed to be a fleeting scare, and we pondered the nature of the creature we had witnessed. Subsequent years brought us to another mysterious experience near Tioga Pass, where an inexplicable floating light left us bewildered and searching for answers. As I share these encounters, I'm left with lingering questions and a desire to connect with others who might have experienced similar phenomena in Yosemite or other natural settings. The unexplained, it seems, has woven its enigmatic threads into the tapestry of our Yosemite escapade, leaving us with memories that transcend the boundaries of the ordinary. As a 47-year-old devoted hiker, I've always found solace and joy in immersing myself in the beauty of nature. This passion has been ingrained in me since childhood, and I even took on a summer job at Yosemite during my college years to be closer to the outdoors. Although life led me down a different professional path, I found happiness in education, which still allowed ample time to explore the wilderness. 10 years ago, during a seemingly routine summer week, I had a chilling encounter that remains etched in my memory. After finishing some errands and with my wife at work, I decided to spend the day hiking with our family dog, Lady, a loyal companion on many of my outdoor adventures. The morning started like any other, but as Thursday rolled around, my 2 teenage kids were off with friends, granting me the freedom to venture into the hills surrounding our town. With Lady by my side, we arrived at the park just before 10 a.m., seemingly the only souls in the vicinity. As I leashed Lady and started our hike, I couldn't shake the feeling that this day held something different. Little did I know, it would become a day etched in my memory forever. As we ascended a hill, Lady's behavior took an unusual turn. She abruptly stopped, raised her head, and intensely sniffed the air. This odd behavior puzzled me, and I wondered if she sensed something amiss. Within moments, she resumed her normal pace, and I dismissed it as mere canine quirkiness. Reaching the top of the hill, the trail split into two directions, right and straight ahead. Opting for safety, I chose the latter, planning to explore the other fork in the future. But fate had other plans. A sudden uproar behind me revealed Lady locked in battle with a medium-sized dog. Instinctively, I used my walking stick to fend off the assailant, realizing too late that it wasn't a dog but a coyote. The struggle for Lady's life unfolded before me, and I fought fiercely to protect her. A well-aimed blow finally deterred the coyote, but not before I had to resort to drawing my concealed carry weapon to ensure our safety. The coyote fell, and I rushed to Lady, discovering wounds on her neck and leg. Distraught and shaken, I quickly called for help, and Lady was taken to the vet. The ordeal didn't end there. Lady faced a 10-day quarantine to rule out rabies. Meanwhile, an investigation revealed the coyote had been a menace in the area, attacking joggers and even tearing through a resident's dog's chain fence. Fortunately, Lady recovered, and the incident prompted a heightened vigilance during our walks. The experience serves as a stark reminder to respect nature and stay alert, even in familiar surroundings. Despite the lingering effects of the attack, Lady and I continue to explore the outdoors, our bond stronger than ever, a testament to the resilience forged through that fateful day. Last summer, my buddy Dave, his pal Mike, a couple of girls, and I embarked on a camping expedition, planning to hike through the wilderness. Our chosen campsite, situated roughly 20 minutes away from the trailhead, served as our home base for the adventure. While the group dynamic was diverse, the key players in the unfolding events were my 32-year-old buddy Dave, Mike, and myself, an 18-year-old guy. The two girls, though present, played a peripheral role in the peculiar events that ensued. The trip kicked off as expected, setting up camp, enjoying a meal, and strategizing for an early start the next day. We aimed to hit the trail at 4:30 a.m., necessitating an early morning rise. However, my night took an unexpected turn when I awoke at 3:30 a.m., feeling unusually alert and ready for the day ahead. Peering out from my hammock, the moonlight bathed the scene in an ethereal glow, creating an almost dreamlike ambience. Struggling to return to sleep, I eventually gave in and woke my buddy Dave and Mike at 3:50 a.m. As we prepared for the hike, an unsettling revelation surfaced. Dave claimed to have heard footsteps near our campsite during the night, human steps, not animal sounds. We dismissed it initially, attributing it to the typical sounds of the wilderness, but an inexplicable disquiet lingered. Our unease heightened when Mike, intending to use the bathroom before the hike, vanished. Waiting for him at the intersection near the trailhead, minutes turned to an hour with no sign of his return. Searching the bathroom, the trailhead, and even the car proved futile. It was only when I encountered Mike later, looking disheveled and disoriented, that we learned of his bizarre experience. According to Mike, he had used the bathroom and, upon returning to the intersection, found us missing. He seemed genuinely perplexed about our whereabouts and inquired multiple times about Dave's location, as if the answers eluded him. This odd behavior left us bewildered, and our initial plan to brush off the strange occurrences began to crumble. Embarking on the hike, the day unfolded with a series of inexplicable incidents. Items mysteriously vanished, including Dave's red flashlight and one of the girls' gloves. Each loss was met with bemusement, as if forgetfulness had taken hold of us. The feeling persisted as we trudged along, the forest seemingly alive with an indefinable menace. The trail, familiar to me from previous hikes, became disorienting, with the surroundings taking on an otherworldly quality. Time itself became a mysterious entity, elongating the hike into what felt like an endless loop. Laughter punctuated our confusion as we marveled at the absurdity of our prolonged journey. Eventually, the spell broke, and we found ourselves on the final stretch, returning to the car. In the aftermath, the oddity of our experiences became apparent. The events left an indelible mark on Dave and me, prompting a re-evaluation of our perceptions. The forest, once familiar, now held a lingering mystery, and the strange occurrences during that camping trip remain a puzzling enigma, challenging our understanding of reality in the great outdoors. Last spring break, I found myself on a thrilling adventure with my close friend, Emily, and her family, alongside 2 other families with kids our age. Despite the parental units being a tad uninspiring in the activity planning department, we decided to infuse some excitement into our vacation by venturing into the great outdoors and trying our hands at rock climbing. Fueled by the passion of 2 brothers in our group who were die-hard rock climbing enthusiasts, we set out to discover a suitable location. These brothers were armed with free climbing gear, though their skills were a bit wanting. Nevertheless, their enthusiasm led us to a hidden gem, a pile of rocks tucked away from the usual trails. Our group of about 7 eagerly scrambled up and down the rocks, exercising caution due to the slightly damp conditions. Our spontaneous climbing escapade took an unexpected turn when we stumbled upon a massive rock formation. It wasn't El Capitan or Half Dome, yet it had its own imposing charm. A peculiar ledge caught our attention, prompting 4 of us to venture up about 20 feet before safely descending. It's a bit challenging to describe, but imagine a vast wall that seemed to stretch into infinity. For the next couple of days, our routine involved a 2-hour climb along the same route. This spot became our secret haven, far removed from the watchful eyes of parents, the monotony of trails, and the intrusion of other people. The magic of the place peaked around 6:30 each evening when we reluctantly descended for dinner. However, one evening, as we were making our way down, a voice called out Emily's name. Assuming it was her father, we responded and headed in the direction of the voice. To our surprise, no one was there. We dismissed it, attributing it to a misunderstanding, and joined our parents at the campsite without bringing up the bizarre incident. The next day, as we ascended to our beloved climbing spot, the older brother, Jake, urged us to stay focused and avoid looking around. Emily, ever the curious soul, asked why, to which Jake inquired about our proximity to the trail. Ignoring the fundamental rule of sticking to established paths for safety, we ventured off-trail, oblivious to the ominous encounter that awaited us. About 50 feet away, I spotted a wiry man with a beard, dreadlocks, and a flannel shirt, holding a flashlight. He just stood there, staring at us. Panic set in, and we scrambled down the rocks in a hurry. It was only halfway down that Emily noticed him, and that's when we practically flew off the rocks, racing back to the campsite. The unsettling encounter prompted us to switch campsites the following day, and we reported the incident to the park rangers, providing detailed descriptions. Strangely, no one in the local vicinity matched the description we gave. The incident served as a stark reminder of the importance of safety in the wilderness. Our spontaneous rock climbing escapade, while initially thrilling, took an unexpected turn, leaving us with an eerie tale to recount for years to come. About 5 years ago, my wife and I embarked on a weekend camping adventure with our 2 closest friends, another married couple, in a secluded campsite just outside the breathtaking Sequoia National Park. The beauty of the site was matched only by its eeriness, accessed through a winding dirt road an hour and a half off the main route. Despite its isolation, the spot was popular, especially during the bustling summer months when our peculiar incident unfolded. The first day was idyllic, filled with laughter and shared moments. Our campsite, unusually free of neighbors on one side, was nestled against the thick embrace of the forest. Little did we know that the tranquility of our getaway would soon be disrupted. As day 2 unfolded, we noticed an unassuming silver rental car had claimed the neighboring campsite. An average-looking man, possibly in his early 40s, occupied it. His gaze, however, became unsettlingly fixated on us. My friend Dave, sotto voce, pointed out this peculiar behavior. Uneasy, I tried to dismiss it, attributing his staring to social awkwardness. We were slightly inebriated, and the alcohol, coupled with a misguided sense of empathy, prevented us from confronting the odd stranger. The discomfort escalated with a series of bizarre incidents. A young woman in her mid-20s snapped a picture of the man's license plate, and later, he bombarded the camp host with oddly specific inquiries about the non-existent bathhouse. Despite our misgivings, we chuckled about his peculiarities. As the sun set, we continued our revelry, oblivious to the unfolding drama. The man, bizarrely, began aggressively eating beans out of a can, maintaining eye contact with us under the feeble glow of a lantern. Unbeknownst to us, these oddities were mere preludes to a night of terror. Around 2:30 a.m., my wife and I were abruptly awakened by what sounded like a woman's scream. Initially dismissing it as rowdy neighbors, a growing sense of unease prompted me to investigate. As I cautiously cracked the car door, a faint whisper from our friend's camper shell reached my ears. Dave urgently instructed me to start the car, but explanations had to wait. Panicking, we drove aimlessly, the fear palpable in the air. When Sarah finally composed herself, she recounted the horror. The man had illuminated his campsite, exposing himself in a lewd act directed at our cars. He then engaged in a bizarre Morse code-like signaling across a ravine with an RV, followed by footsteps and a menacing tap on their window. With no cell service, we sought refuge with the camp host, who, to our dismay, could only contact the police at sunrise. We huddled in my car, defenseless in the pitch-black darkness. A mysterious hooded figure approached our window around 4 a.m., disappearing into the trees as soon as our headlights illuminated him. At sunrise, we hastily packed, leaving the disturbing scene behind. The police, upon investigation, dismissed the man's actions as mere showering, leaving us frustrated and powerless. The camp host corroborated our concerns but was equally helpless. This chilling encounter forever altered my approach to unsettling situations. Lessons learned: I am now more assertive when faced with creepy individuals, prioritizing my safety and those around me. The haunting memories of that night linger, a stark reminder of the thin veil between serenity and unspeakable horror in the great outdoors. My name is Alex, and I used to be an avid camper, spending my days either in the great outdoors or planning my next camping adventure. There was something liberating about being away from the monotony of everyday life, away from first-world problems. I took camping seriously, making shelters instead of opting for a tent, drinking from mountain streams, and even hunting and setting traps for food. In April of last year, 2 buddies and I embarked on a 4-night hiking and camping trip along the Appalachian Trail. With packs weighing more than 50 pounds, we marched 20 miles into the lush green hills before reaching our first major water source, a serene strip of clear water nestled in a picturesque valley. The journey took us 2 days, with 18 hours of straight marching that left our packs digging agonizingly into our shoulders. Yet, the intoxicating sense of achievement kept us going. Days and nights blurred as we foraged for food along the trail. It was a constant struggle, but the profound sense of peace the outdoors provided made it worthwhile. Nights were spent skewering hot dogs on sticks and savoring them with warm apple cider over the crackling campfire. We listened to owls calling out like ghosts and watched embers dance in the air as our eyelids grew heavy. We found plenty of fruit and fresh water, but our attempts at securing protein fell short. No duck eggs, rabbits eluding our snares, and our improvised fishing rods proved less effective than expected. Desperation set in, and with only cereal bars and peanut butter to sustain us, we decided to make the 7-mile journey to the nearest town. This is where things took a dark turn. After hours of walking, we decided to take a shortcut up a steep hill. As we climbed, I noticed a thick fog waiting at the top, ready to roll down onto us as the temperature dropped. The fog enveloped us, obscuring the view of my friend, Chris, as we walked behind him. Then, we stumbled upon something disturbing, the remains of newborn lambs scattered about. It was an unusual sight, unscathed by scavengers. Relieved at the sight of a cottage, we realized we had no idea where we were, and there was no mention of a cottage on our map. Approaching the cottage, we encountered a makeshift front gate of crudely bound tree limbs. The courtyard was overgrown with weeds, and an assortment of odd items were arranged in a rough circle around a small sapling. It felt eerie, and as I knocked on the door, the weight of my arm made me anxious. Peering through a filthy window, I glimpsed more unrelated items scattered inside. As I suggested moving on, Chris's behavior became strange. He looked pale and confused, and when I questioned him, he muttered, "We need to leave now." Later that night, around the campfire, he revealed that someone had been inside the cottage, hiding from us. They locked eyes with him, appearing beaten and terrified, and Chris feared they weren't alone, something else might have been lurking, heading back to us. Grateful that we didn't find out more, we left the mysterious cottage behind, leaving the unsettling encounter in the remote wilderness unresolved.